Hi everyone, Linda here again with you from Gunlock Lane Jewellery. Another link tutorial for you this week. This is a little link that we're going to be doing. I previewed it in my last week's video, so it's a little twiggy, what I call a little, it's supposed to represent a twig. Anyway, so that's a little twig that we're going to be making as a link. And we're also going to be putting together an earring, so if you'd like to learn how to make either one of these, then just stay with me. I'll get all my supplies together and we'll get going. Okay, so I have a piece of 18 gauge wire here, which I have annealed. Now you can make this without annealing it, so if you don't use a torch or you don't have a torch, whatever, you can make this without annealing. It's just, not, well, it's the word harder. It's just a little bit more trying is probably the word that I'm looking for. So much easier if you anneal it. Okay, so I'm going to grab my 6-step pliers here, and I'm using the little one, which I think is a 2mm, if I'm right. Yeah, if I'm right with that. And I'm just going to turn a loop on the end. Just like that. You don't have to be too fussy with it at the moment. We can play around with that later. It's just so you know where the end of your wire is. Then I'm going to grab my, excuse me, my pointy nose, flat nose pliers here. Really fine pointy nose. And I'm just going to come up a little way. Now, I've sort of made a pattern that I'm using at the moment, but you can make your own pattern up. I'm just going to show you the technique, how to do it. So you just play around with it and come up with your own design. And I want it fairly close down to the bottom because I don't want just a big gap of wire coming up here. It just doesn't look nice. And it doesn't matter which way you bend. You can bend this way or that way. Totally up to you. As I said, you make up your own design. I'm going to come back this way, like that, readjust. Now this is not, I'm going to say, well, for me anyway, you might find it easy. I didn't find this particularly, it's not what I'm going to call a beginner tutorial. It's, you know, you might be a beginner and you might get it first go, who knows. But it's, yeah, I would say more intermediate is what it is. And we're just going to, I've got my normal flat nose pliers now, and I'm just going to squash this loop in like this. Now each time I've made this, I've made it a little bit different, so I just that's just the way my brain works. It doesn't hold on to an idea sometimes for whatever reason. Okay, so we've got that, we've got it flattened. Flatten that in a little bit more than that. Oops. And then I'm going to grab hold of this by the very tip, like that, and bring this wire up, like that. And then I'm going to grab another pair of pliers, and I'm going to hold on to my loop down here. This is where it's going to get awkward on camera because it's, when I'm making it, when I'm not on camera, I'm coming in at so many different angles. So I'm holding on to this so I can support my loop, and I'm going to bend this wire over like that. And because it's annealed, it's very pliable, so it makes the job a bit easier. Well, not a bit easier, a lot easier. Okay, I'm going to hold on to this again. I'm going to try and straighten that up. Now, as you can see, the loop's facing the wrong way now because this is going to be the front of the earring here. It doesn't matter, we'll fix it up later. So I've got that going up there. Now I need my pointy nose pliers again. These ones out of the way so my camera will focus. Now again, you just make up your own design. I'm going to go this way first, the same way as I did before. So I'm just bending that wire, bringing it down. I'm going to bring in my flat nose pliers, flatten that again, get it in nice and tight. And I'm going to hold on to, I can bend that back because of this part down here, because it's very pliable. And I'm going to bring this wire up so it's out of my way. Hold on to this in your right hand really tightly because it will slip otherwise. And then I'm going to bend this wire over, bring this wire up, and I'm going to bring it down again. And I'm going to bring in my pointy nose pliers again. And why I'm using these is because I want the smallest loop that I can get here. And yeah, loop I suppose is what you call it. Or bend, whatever. You just use your words. I'll try and use mine. Squashing that down again. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Now this is where it gets a little bit hard because my hands want to do weird things. I'm going to try and hold on to that frame the best I can and turn this loop up. Now you might find this quite easy to do. Your brain would probably work differently to mine, but that's what I think it all comes down to, how your brain makes your eyes see things. All right, that's looking pretty good. Get these pliers out of the way again. Now decide again which way you want to go. I'm going to come out this way again. So as I said, it's you make your own pattern. It's just trying to make it roughly look like a twig. And twigs are organic. So yeah, just do your best job. I mean, I don't think it looks exactly like a twig, obviously. It's because we're not using like a mold or anything like that that's been made to look, you know, you've actually found a twig and made a mold of it and you know, poured your metal, whatever they do when they do things like that, that they can get things, you know, bring out a piece that looks exactly like what it's supposed to look like because it's been molded off an actual piece. But I'm just going to straighten that up a little bit. Yeah, this is just my organic idea of a twig. Okay, just I'm going to straighten this up a little bit here. So you can do all of this if you want. So it was getting a little bit too zigzaggy, and I don't want it to be too zigzaggy. And because it is annealed, it's a lot more pliable, so you can get in there. I'm going to straighten this one right up. Yep, that looks better. And then I'm going to bring him down a bit. Okay, so it's just all about playing around with it. Okay, it's starting to look more like I want it to look. All right, I'm going to do the other one and then I'll play around with it a bit more. So I'm just going to put one more kink in this, and I'll go back the other way, obviously. Make it just, and make sure you leave yourself enough wire at the top. Oh, did I give you a length on the wire? I don't think I did. It's 8 centimeters, which is what did I look at it? It was 3 1/8 of an inch. Is 8 centimeters. So you can make this as long as you want. I've made long ones. I wouldn't probably go any shorter unless you're using a finer gauge of wire. I don't know, I haven't done it in a finer gauge, so I'm not sure. I can't give you a what's the name on that, you know, how it will turn out. I don't know. But I imagine if you're using a finer gauge of wire, that it would, you could make a smaller one. Okay, I can turn that. Straight, squash that in a little bit more, bring it back this way, and then bring that back up that way. Okay, that's a pretty good looking twiggy shape, I think. So I'm just going to straighten this one up at the bottom here now. Bring it back around where it's supposed to be. Might need another pair of pliers to hold that, I think. Get that back where I want it. Holding that so I can twist this. There we go. Straighten it up. Just fix its shape up a little bit. Okay, so that's that done. I'm just going to grab my block and my rubber hammer. And I'm just going to give this a light, just to strengthen it and just to bring it a little bit more into shape. So hold it so that you've got your loop that you've already turned in one hand, and try not to hit this part up here because we're going to turn that. And I'm just going to use the softer end of my hammer here. So just gentle taps. Okay, so that's straightened it and just strengthened it a little bit because it will go through the tumbler anyway, which will straighten it up. So we'll just turn our loop at the end, making sure I've got it facing the right way. It's a terrible loop. Oh, that's gonna have to do. I'm not gonna fiddle around with it too much. I want to get on with this. Close it up, straighten it up. Okay, well that's our little component. It's not quite straight at the top there. Okay, so now I thought we would turn it into an earring. I don't do this very often, actually, make a piece of jewellery when I'm doing the link tutorials, but I thought we would do this. So I've got some little, I think they're 3mm. I'm pretty sure they're 3mm garnets on there, little faceted garnets. And I didn't have a garnet drop, so I just put, I don't know what this stone is. I bought it that long ago, I don't remember now, but I thought it would look nice together. and something a little bit different. So I thought we would make that. So I'm going to grab some, where am I, 26 gauge wire. Where'd I put that? Yep. And you don't need a massive big piece. There we go. So that's like yay long, not very long. Got my little beads here. Okay. So just start at the top. Figure out which way you want it to be, which is your top and which is your bottom. It doesn't really matter. It's, you know, all of the muchness really. And just holding on to that. Leave yourself a little tail. Come on, Linda, grab hold of it. And I'm just going to wrap around the frame. Just go around a few times, 2 or 3 times. Okay. I'm just having a quick look to see where I think I want my beads to go. So you make up your mind as you're going along which way you think. And you know, the hardest thing is finding the damn holes in these things. Goodness gracious. I spent about 2 minutes yesterday chasing a bead around. It was, I couldn't believe I was that patient that I spent that long doing it. So we're going to come up over the top and just see, do I like that there? No, I don't like that there. It's all right, I'm just going to straighten the wire out. Give that bit of straightening with my straighteners so I can move my bead. Okay. Where do I want that to go? I can see where I want it to go now. I should have left my bead on and just wrapped this. I took it off. Oh well. So I'm going to bring that up and over. I've got that going around 3 times or 2.5 times. Find that hole again. Come on. There we go. Yeah, I want him to sit in there. I think that looks nice there. Swing that in around that one there, wrap around a couple of times. Go around 3. And then maybe pop one in there. So just decide as you're going along. That's what I'm doing here as I'm again chasing beads. Come on. This is so frustrating. I'm frustrated doing this because I know you're watching and I don't want to you know, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to bore you while I chase beads around the table. Yeah, that's a nice spot there. And then give that a good wrap, pull it in nice and tight. Okay, and do I want that to go in there or over here? I think I'll go over here. So I'll wrap that around a couple of times. the final bead. There we go, you're a good one, you jumped on almost straight away. Yeah, that looks okay. Get it around that little hump. Pull it in nice and tight. Yeah, that looks okay. And then just bring it around and finish your wire off. A few little wraps. Cut it nice and close. Tap it down. And then do the same thing for the other end. Pull it in nice and tight. Pull them together. I normally don't do this because it takes like a lot longer time, obviously, and therefore it takes longer to upload. And yeah, okay, that looks pretty good. All right, when we come back, I will wrap this bead here, and then we'll attach our ear wire, and yeah, we'll be done. Won't be long. Okay, I'm back, and I've got a piece of 22 gauge wire here that I'm wrapping through this bracelet. So you just need to make sure what size wire you can fit through the hole. And you probably don't need to see how to wrap a bracelet, but I know there's always new people, so I'm spinning that side of the wire up, and then that one I'm making like a little triangle at the top. You sort of want it as close to your bead. Well, I do anyway. I like it nice and close to my bead. And I'm just going to grab a pair of pliers, and I'm just going to straighten that one up. And then I'm going to grab another pair of pliers, my bent nose, fine nose bent nose pliers. Grab that point there. And this wire here comes out, so it comes out at a backwards L shape there. And I'm just going to wrap this around a couple of times. Tighten that up a little bit. Now it doesn't matter to me where you cut this, because I'm going to wrap over the top of it. Now if you're not going to wrap over the top of it, then make sure you cut it towards the back of your, the back of what's going to be your work. You know what I mean, the piece that's going to face the front. Goodness. And just tap that down. Okay, and a pair of round nose pliers. And I like to grab onto my wraps here, because I don't want a big long neck on it. So I'm just going to bend that over there. And my little wrap popped up. Doesn't normally do that. It's the first time I've ever had that happen. I don't think I tightened that enough. That's probably why. Okay, well, I've got my bend there, so that's fine. That's all I need. Oh, I wrapped that the wrong way. I want it to go this way, because it's going to connect onto the bottom of that there. Okay, so I'll just pop my pliers back in, bring it around, grab my pliers again. I'm going to hold on to that loop, and I'm going to wrap. So I'm wrapping down over the top of the other wraps, and then I'm going to come back up again. I'm doing a triple wrap on this one. And I need another pair of pliers now. Oh my goodness, can you hear Dave blowing his nose? It's so annoying. I tell him I'm going to film, like, get all that stuff out of the way before I film, and he just doesn't pay attention. He goes, yeah, okay, and then just totally forgets. Okay, I'm just going to fix it up because it's a lot harder to do under a camera than, oh, I've said that so many times, but it's, I can't help it, it's the truth. It's a lot harder. You can't get the right angles. So I'm going to tap that down, and then I'm going to come in and fix these ugly wraps up. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's organic, but it's got to be a little bit nicer than that. Yeah, that's a bit better. Not great, but the other one's better because I did it off camera. Just make sure I got that little piece of wire down there. Straighten my loop up a little bit. As I said, it's not great because I'll rewrap this when I'm off camera. So now just open up the bottom of our loop here, whichever's going to be your bottom and top. Yeah, I'm going to go that way. So just opening that sideways, finding the front and the back of your wrap there. That's, I think I've got that the right way. No, I got it the wrong way. There we go, that's right. Close that back up. Make sure it's closed down well so it can't sneak off. And then I'm going to grab a little jump ring and my ear wire. Now normally you would turn your loop here at the top and just pop your ear wire in, but I don't like this design. I've tried it with the turning it and I don't like the look of it, so that's why I decided I'd use just a little jump ring here. I think this Twiggy thing looks much better when the when your loops either top and bottom are facing, you know, towards the back. That's just my opinion. You might like it the other way, and that is totally up to you. If I can get this on here, come on. I know this jump ring is little, but the other one fit on perfectly. Now I can't get this one to get on there. Come on, don't annoy me. There we go. Just had to come in at a different angle. Close that up, straighten it up. There we go. So that is our little pair of earrings. I think they're beautiful. Do you like them? I love them. I get so happy when I make something I really like. Because sometimes I'll make things and I think, oh yeah, they're okay, and then I never make them again because I know I'm not overly happy with them. So what I wanted to show you now, excuse me. Now in last week's video I showed this necklace, but I'm showing it again in case you didn't see last week's necklace, so you can see what it looks like. And why I showed it last week was because I did the tutorial for the leaf motif here, component link, whatever you want to call it. and I had the branches in there. So this is what it looks like in a necklace. So there's all our little twigs in there. And then I made, to go with that, I made a pair of matching earrings. So I'm showing you these so you get an idea of what you can do. I've used mookaite beads in these ones. These are little 4mm, I think. I can't remember now. Yeah, they're too small for 6, aren't they? They might be 6mm. I don't know. And I use tiny little, I know these ones are 2mm, little 2mm mookaite beads. So I just wrap those up the top there, just to, you know, a little bit of interest at the top of your earring, and then just made the little cluster for down the bottom. So that's to go with those. And then I also showed these earrings. I didn't show these ones last week, but I showed you these ones. So this is just for people that didn't see last week's. This one here is longer. The little twig is longer, to give you a longer earring, using the leaf motif that I did in last week's video, and I just wire wrapped a bead in there. So that's another idea for you. And then lastly, we have a little bracelet that I made here. This main frame that sits over the top of your wrist is in 16 gauge copper wire, and I did a little bit extra wire wrapping on that. I just wanted it to stand out a little bit more, and again with the garnets, so that can match in with the earrings that we just made. And it did a little leaf design on the end of that. One side is just chain, and the other side is 2 of these are 18 gauge, 2 of the little twiggy things, to give like an asymmetric, I'll put it on for you, to give an asymmetric look. So that's what it would look like on your wrist, with 2 little dangles there, just for a little bit of movement and a bit of fun there on the side. And do it up again. And that's what it looks like laying down. So a little asymmetrical bracelet there. Yeah, so that's all I've got for you for this week. So I hope you enjoyed. Actually, before I go, I'll just let you know, I had a couple of people, actually probably 4 or 5 over the last couple of videos I've done, mentioning bald head, making bald head pins. They were having problems with it. So right after this, I've attached a little short video on how to make a bald head pin, and I hope it really helps you guys out. Okay, so I've got my 20 gauge wire on my tweezers here. I'm going to light the torch. Now mine doesn't automatically, oh, I just made a liar out of me. Sometimes it does, oh, now it won't. Yeah. Sometimes it lights straight away, and other times it doesn't, so I just use a lighter to do that. Now hold it upside down. I'm bringing my wire, this is very hard to do on camera by the way, into the flame, and you have to find the sweet spot in your flame. As I said, this is hard to do on camera. Okay, got it there. See, it starts to ball up almost straight away, and I just bounce it up and down a little bit like that until I get the ball shape that I want. Oop, I lost that one. And straight down inside my torch. It's because I'm doing it on camera. And that one's a bit off to the side. Okay, that's not a good example. Let me grab another piece. Now I've got a piece that was 20 gauge. I'm going to do 18 gauge now. And it takes longer to, the thicker the wire, the longer it takes for it to ball. So you just have to be patient. So it's starting to ball now. And it's not too bad, that one. I'll do one more. Just grab my piece of wire. Just finding that sweet spot in there. There we go, this one's going to turn out better, I think. There we go. Okay, I'll turn my torch off. put it down. See if I can zoom this in a little bit. Wait a minute. There we go. Now you can see some little dents and stuff like that in it, and that's fine. Like I don't strive for perfection. This is organic jewelry that I make, and I actually like those little lumps and bumps and things. Now if you don't like them, of course you can file them off, get it all nice and smooth. Your tumbler's not going to do that for you, so you need to do it before you put it in the tumbler. But that's a pretty good looking head pin then. So as I said, it's all about finding the sweet spot in your flame. I don't know how to explain that to you any better. It's not right down. Just let me relight the flame again and see if I can show you. There we go. Flip first time. The blue, where it's really blue there, that is not your sweet spot. You're just above that. You're just in there, like about there is your sweet spot. So that's about it. I don't know how to explain it to you any better than that. I have shown in previous videos how to do the balls like that, but I've had a few people ask me, like having troubles with doing their balls. So I just thought I'd show it again one more time, because I tried to look at my other videos and I couldn't find where I actually filmed that. So I'll put the description down in this video, so that if you're looking for it, you can go down to the description and it will say there whether I've done a ball head pin in there. Okay, well I hope that helps. I'll get back with the rest of the video now. So I'll just mention now the Facebook page. I'll leave a link down the bottom for that. It's a private group. It's a safe group. So if you'd like to join, you haven't joined, you know, people are posting their work there all the time. I post work that I don't normally do here on YouTube. So if you want some inspiration, if you've got any problems, questions, anything like that, you can ask them in the group. There's lots of people there that can help you out. I'm always there to help you out. As I said, I post my work that I don't do here on YouTube. Yeah, so the link, this link will be down the bottom in the description. Okay, guys, enough of me babbling on. Have a good one. Have a safe one. I'll catch you all next week. And in the meantime, go out there and make something beautiful. Bye, guys. Love ya.